Yep.
All right, well, good morning, brother.
Morning. Morning.
Uh, I guess we're going to have to go straight back to the start of who you are, what you do, because it's rather impressive and people need to know from the horse's mouth.
Thank you. Well, I am Jimmy Kolb. I currently reside in Virginia in the States. Oh, originally born in Montana, which is on the west, but I spent the majority of my life in northeastern Ohio. We're in Virginia because I got stationed here when I was in the Marines and came upon a really cool gym while we were here. Got out of the Marines, and then we never left. So, because we have such a nice group of people and community at our gym currently, which is just a little north where I live right now. So, I've been lifting weights for almost 18 years. It'll be 18 years in May, and been competing for almost 14 of those 18 years.
Wow.
So, what I do does not happen overnight. It's taken me almost 2 decades to get to the point where I'm at right
Well, I didn't know you were in the Marines, man.
now. Yeah, unfortunately, it was not what it was hyped up to be. It was
Mm,
not, I mean, I got out for a reason.
mm,
I got out honorably. I did 4 years. I was an armorer, so I took accountability of weapons and optics, serial numbers, and dished out weapons through my little window and took weapons in and did maintenance on said weapons. I keep calling them weapons, firearms. Sorry, uh, we called them weapons. After a while, it was just kind of funny. They just after you handle them so often, they just become piles of plastic and metal.
yeah.
We would take them in and do our accountability and clear them, and then we just throw them in the back and step on them. But we didn't give a shit. They were just piles of junk after a while.
Wow.
Probably not something I should say, but it's true. Just the way
Oh,
it
well,
was.
speak your truth, right? And,
Yeah.
you kind of become a bit desensitized to it all, don't you?
Yeah. After they were, I mean, it was cool. Oh, these are M4s. Oh, these are semi. Oh, some of these are automatic. Some of these are whatever. And and the M9s and the Glocks. And after a while, it's like, like it becomes so normal. But then, God be damned if one of them puts their barrel through the window at you, then it blows up and you can blast them. I used to
Mm.
be an E3. I could blast, officers if I needed to, because you're in my place of business and you don't point a weapon at me. You point a weapon at the enemy, not at me.
Wow.
So simple things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what age did you get into the military?
I went in late. Most kids, say kids, most people go in really young at 18,
Yeah.
straight out of high school. I went in at 26, um, which was, I was in a very weird spot in my life where I was just, my wife were just surviving.
Hmm.
I took a temporary hiatus from the sport. I was just working a really dead end job in a brick manufacturing plant that was killing me slowly. I wanted to give back, so I joined. But going to the island, because I was on the East Coast, I went to Paris Island. Going through that experience, being the oldest with like 80, 18-year-olds, maybe two 19-year-olds, three 20-year-olds, and one 24-year-old, that was rough.
Mm.
Um, I know on paper it says you're legally an adult at 18, but from my personal experience, 18 does not make you an adult. You were still a child at 18 because they
Yeah.
acted like
Well, it's life experience that makes you adult, right? Not just a number attached to you. Like you think you
correct.
could sit on a couch for 18 years and you're gonna be an adult. Good luck, man. Like
Yeah,
life's gonna
no,
life's
that
gonna teach you some things.
it was an eye opener for me. I mean, I already kind of knew what to expect, but oh Christ, these kids could not listen, could not just shut
Fuck.
their fucking mouths, just shut up. We got so fucked up from the DIs just because these kids couldn't shut up. We could have been spared so much bullshit had they just been quiet or just learned to shut it. But no, it's over, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a chapter in a book now. learned
Right.
some things, done some things. It got you from one situation to the next, so it can only ever be a positive.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the lifting, man.
Yeah, it's been a it's been a crazy few years actually. Um, and obviously, I mean, I've enjoyed. People ask me about the most current lift I did a few weeks ago. How does it feel? What do you think about it? I'm like, hey, you know something? I've enjoyed every small PR I've had my entire career. Back when I was benching in the 200s,
No, man.
first time I benched 250, or the first time I benched 2 plates and a quarter, or the first time I hit 300, which was that was one of the biggest mind barriers, was that 300 mark. It's kind of a interesting story. I could bench 295 for like 3 to 4 reps, but as soon as I put those little chips on the end to make it 300, I couldn't do it.
Fuck.
It was just, it was just that it's only, you're not even going to feel that difference, but just knowing that number was scary. And but after that, like numbers didn't intimidate me after 300. It was 300 was a very strange number, but, but anyway, so I've enjoyed every PR, over the last, well, 18 years of lifting. But I guess the lift everybody's kind of wondering and talking about is the 1,320 pound bench I did 3 weeks ago. And it was, I mean, is what it is. It's just another number, but I guess it was a pretty big number.
Yeah, there's a few pounds on that bar,
Yeah.
1,320. I'm gonna do the maths
Cool.
for those kilo people out there, which is
Hello,
me.
people. Cool.
That's 600.
Well, and on the calculator, it does say that, but in reality, when we Googled exactly down to I can't break down kilos, but down to the littlest parts, it actually
Mhm.
turns out to be like 599 point something something. So
Mm.
but then again, this meat was in pounds. I know a lot of meats here in the US use kilos depending on the federation, but we use pounds. So I would have had to have gone up to like 1325. I couldn't have done 1321 or 22.
Oh shit.
Uh, so I think I was off by just literally a couple of pounds to actually make it officially 600. Because all the records, I think Open Powerlifting, all the sites that make articles about it say it's like a 599 kilo bench. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
to say it in pounds, it sounds cooler.
Yeah. It's more of a round number, right?
Yes,
You see
yes. At least
something with
I
99, you're like, come on, man, you could have gone
could.
1 more kilo.
That's what some people on YouTube like. Oh, really, man? He could have done 1 more kilo. Ha ha. I'm like, dude, I was looking at the poundage. Because we were using pounds, and I still use the freedom units because I'm still here in the U.S. and I don't understand kilos. But
Mhm.
so in the moment, I thought it was 600, but in fact, it was not.
But at the end of the day, dude, that's 599 kilos
Yes.
and change, with
Yeah.
whatever grams on top of that. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's equipped, right?
Yes, that's equipped.
So give people a little bit of a lowdown if they don't understand what equipped lifting is. Just a little bit of an explanation.
So equipped lifting actually has been with the sport for about 40 or 50 years. Equipment came out back in the 80s, starting with the squat suit was the original first piece of supportive lifting equipment that came out by, I believe it was the Marathon squat suit. That was way, way back in either the late 70s or the early 1980s. And it's a tight fitting garment. The squat suit looks like a wrestling singlet, but it's made of not stretchy spandex, but more or less high dense polyester. Um, it's stretchy under a lot of load. You can't actually take it and like stretch it. It will give under a lot of pressure. About 1983 or 84, the first bench shirt came out, which is what we're referring to,
Mhm.
which was a tight fitting garment. It's a shirt just like I'm wearing here, but it's made of not cotton or light polyester. It's made of different materials like denim, like jeans. Some are made of canvas, and some are just really high dense, thick polyester. There's newer shirts out right now that came out a couple of years ago that are called band shirts, which is what I used for this lift. If anybody's familiar with like knee wraps in the squat, that knee wraps that stretch, that is what these shirts are made of. It's just knee wrap material. So it's gone from poly, more advanced poly, to denim to canvas, and those became obsolete once poly became more advanced. And now you've got these new band shirts that's classified as being in the unlimited division. So you have single ply, which is one thin layer of polyester, which I have a record in as well. Multiply, which is multiple layers of said polyester, and then unlimited, which is these new band shirts. They're meant to protect you. That was the original idea, because people are, if you ever hear about somebody tearing a shoulder, ripping a pec, they're usually doing raw, which means just benching with nothing, with a t-shirt, and people were getting hurt often enough. The shirts came out to help keep everything tight and not rip your pecs, blow out your shoulders, with the added benefit of lifting more weight. So that's the original idea. Now it's obviously twisted, where the idea is to bench more weight with the added benefit of not getting injured. And I credit that to why I've been lifting in equipment since I was 18. So 14 years competing in equipment is one of the reasons why I've never had a serious injury. I've never ripped a pec, never had a minor tear, shoulder problems. I will continue to compete for hopefully another couple of decades because of the low injury rate, or non-existent injury rate.
Wow. Is a little bit of context, because there's going to be somebody out there thinking, oh, okay, cool, you could only bench whatever because you are wearing a fucking suit, which you and I both know is complete bullshit. So if you just lay down now, obviously warmed up and all that shit, but if you lay down now raw for a bench, what would you be pushing?
So probably not quite 300 kilos, pretty close to it. 650. That's if I actually gave it some thought and kind of worked on it.
Yeah.
I've been, one of the things I'm more known for these days is actually benching not traditional, but actually reverse.
Wow.
I bench raw with a reverse grip, which further helps protect these vital areas and puts it all back on the triceps where it belongs. So it's not something that I really want to do or pursue. Now, if I was going to bench raw, it'd be for one person. That's me. I'm not going to bench raw because internet people want me to.
100%.
I only have one person to please in this life, and that's myself. So, but then the thing is, I'm an equipped competitor. Benching raw is cool. Anybody can do it. Anybody can lay down and bench raw. It's easy. But that doesn't have a lot of benefit for me as being an equipped lifter. I have to be very specialized in what I do and how I train to get better at what I want to do, which is equipped.
And it's a skill as well, man. I think a lot of people overlook the skill aspect of powerlifting, right? And then when you add in the equipped lifting federation, it gets even more skillful.
It is. It's almost two different sports.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you cannot compete equipped against a raw competitor. It's never going to happen. And people tend to forget that. It's like, oh, it's cheating. It's like, it's in its own separate division. It's almost an entire different sport. We're on two different ends of the spectrum here. On this very extreme, you've got the raw purists, and on that end of the extreme, you've got the equipped guys. And we compete with equipped guys, and you compete with raw guys. It's completely separate. You want to lift raw, I'm not going to stop you. I want to lift equipped. You're not going to stop me.
100%.
Your negative comment or your negative opinion is not going to affect my performance. It's like people forget that.
And it's funny because if you're a true believer in the sport, or just appreciator, right, of all things barbell, all things strength, you appreciate them as their little entity, right? You're like, oh, this is incredible for this. This is incredible for strongman is incredible for this, it's not about comparing them all. It's not about throwing them into one pot, melting it up, and be like, oh, which one's king? It's like, no, just fucking appreciate it, right? Put some lacrosse on the telly and be like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
someone's playing some sport, for Christ's
Yeah.
sake. It might not be your thing, great, but appreciate it.
Appreciate for how dedicated that person is to a specific niche or sport, however obscure it might be. I
Yeah,
mean, you would not believe the amount of love and the messages. Some of them I can't even read uh, from the Russians. I mean, I get messages left and right. A lot of them are not translated. They're all their straight, their text. I'm like, well, there's a couple of hearts and a couple of thumbs up. I'm assuming it's a good message, but because they respect strength no matter what. They worship strength in any and all forms, and that's wonderful.
yeah, man.
Um,
That old
so
Eastern style block of training, right?
yeah, they really they worship strength. It's like like the Japanese, they worship their sumo wrestlers. As
Yeah, yeah,
some people would look at them and go, "Oh my goodness, they're just fat slobs." In reality, they are very specialized
yeah.
athletes. They're treated like NFL players out there. You know.
100%, man.
Yeah. So, but it's I do what I do, and I really love what I do. I enjoy it. And that's all that matters.
100%. I think a lot of people are getting into the gym spots, right? So not out on the field, but on the Bible, need to go back and learn from the old Soviet training systems, or even just read it, man.
Yeah.
Just read it and understand and pay homage to the history of it, right? It came
Yeah.
from that, the whole GPP, and then bringing it back up, and rather than just, oh, okay, I'm going to go in and do 5x5 or a bodybuilding split. I was like, guys, just read
Learn,
a
learn,
book.
learn. Yeah. Learn about your sport. Know the
Yeah,
history of your sport, where it comes from. I think a lot of current generation lifters, new generation lifters, don't even know the history of their own sport, um, which is really sad. It's all just very in the moment, current. What's hot? What's the current
mm,
trend? I'm like, you know, you go to a meet and you got 70 full grown men all squatting 405 raw. It's like that's not really powerlifting. That's more like CrossFit. That's just my opinion. Uh,
no,
you
man,
know,
you crack on. Like I think there's time and space for everyone.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, like, I mean, I can't remember what conversation I had, but someone was like, "When can you call yourself a powerlifter?" Right? Because it's a funny term, right? Because everyone can do some sort of squat, bench, and a deadlift.
right.
Right? Weightlifting is a bit different, which is my thing, because snatch and a clean and jerk way more complicated, right?
Absolutely,
But the
absolutely.
but the SBD, like, everybody can kind of get away with it, right? So if you
Mhm.
go in the gym and throughout a week you squat, bench, and deadlift, can you call yourself a powerlifter? And you're just
A
like,
lot of well, most of them do. Most of them do. They do one meet where they go 9 for 9 and don't push themselves, and now they're a power lifter. DM me for coaching on Instagram. It's like, gee, anybody can be a coach these days, man. Anybody can put DM me for coaching on Instagram. It's just if you bench 200 pounds, I don't think you should be necessarily being out there trying to coach people. I think you should wait until you bench something that's. I mean, I'm not trying to knock 200-pound benches, but so, arguably a litlittle more respectable
oh,
before
no,
you
no, no.
start. You know what I mean?
I understand that, man. Like, because I coached through the CrossFit scene for about, I want to say, 6 years, right? And something that came up through that quite regularly was, do you need to be able to do the movements to be able to coach them? Right. And it was always a heated topic. It was like yes, and then no, and then it's like, yeah, but do you have to be like Michael? Everyone brought up Michael Phelps for some reason. It's like Michael Phelps's coach isn't as good as a swimmer. I'm like, yeah, okay, fantastic. Like, he's the fucking Olympic champion. No one's gonna beat him.
Right.
But do they need to understand it? Yes. Do they need to be able to feel what that's like and know what the feeling is like? Yes. Can you coach it without being able to do the movement? Yes. Is it optimal? No. It's a fine line, right? Like, and
Right.
I do believe, though, if you're coming in, you're benching a plate, maybe two, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll make you strong as shit. Like, pay me dollars and I'll help you out. I'm like, look, man, go read a couple books. Okay, just dedicate some time to this craft. It's not going to be months and weeks. It's going to be months and years, right? And just fall in love with it, man, because you do over time. You end up respecting the patience that you need in the bar, rather than like, oh yeah, in 2 weeks' time, don't worry, I'm going to be like pushing your numbers. You're like, in 2 weeks' time,
2 weeks, you can't,
good
you
luck.
can't, you can maintain your strength with 2 weeks of work, but to gain anything takes, I'd argue, minimal 2 months
Mm.
to gain even just a little bit. 2 weeks is just what you do prior to a competition just to maintain the strength that you have already built. You can't do shit in 2 weeks. There's no way.
Yeah, but that's taught by patience and years, right? That's taught by just dedicating your time to the craft.
Yeah, I keep trying to reiterate to people that, like, look, like, I've been doing this for 18 years. I spent my first 4 years, 14 to 18. I started in middle school, just lifting to lift. I
Mhm.
was actually inspired to bodybuild. I was bodybuilding my first 7 or 8 months. I didn't know any different. I was like, oh, bodybuilders, yeah, they lift weights. Until I realized, oh, well, you can take two routes: get as big as possible or get as strong as possible. And I thought that's more impressive. I want to lift the big weights. I went and did that. I was just doing all the different lifts, overhead stuff, uh, rows, deadlift. I was doing everything. I could not do enough. For the first 4 years, built a very strong foundation and base. And then from 18 till now, I'll be 32 at the end of May, so almost 14 years. I have done nothing but specialize specifically in the equipped bench press. I've been benching in equipment for almost 14 years on the dot. I mean, it's been, oh, I mean, I've, almost quit a few times. I took a break from the sport for a couple of years. That's how I ended up joining the Marine Corps. But that was in a dark spot in my life. But overall, it's been specialized for this one lift. Now you've got
Mm.
sports like strongman or CrossFit, things like that. You have to be dedicated and be efficient at, like,
Yeah,
everything. I mean, the strongmen sometimes don't even know what they're doing until they show up that day at the competition.
which is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, you could be doing. Oh, we're doing so the roster of events is stones, the fingers, the medleys, like a deadlift, like, oh, but I've been dedicated to just one lift. They call me a specialist in
Mhm.
powerlifting. I'm not. My wife argues this, that even though I don't do all three lifts, I'm still considered a power lifter. She thinks that. I think because I do one lift, I am not a true power lifter. I am a specialist. I specialize in bench press. So you got to imagine 14 years of dedicating myself to being good and efficient at one single lift. That's how I've gotten to where I am right now.
I fucking love hearing shit like this, man. You know, it's so badass that someone's just able to give themselves a slice of humble pie every time and be like, I ain't gonna get there quickly. I ain't gonna get there doing everything, right? I'm gonna get there doing specific things. I'm gonna dedicate my time to the craft, whatever the fuck it is, right? Whether it's the splits, right? Whether it's benching 320, whether it's fucking whatever, right? Whether it's running the sub 2 hour marathon, which is absolutely bonkers, right?
Yes,
Like that's
yes.
another specialist and people don't give it any credit, right? Or the 4 minute mile or fucking, I don't know, max push ups in a minute. I don't give a shit. Like just someone that's dedicated to this one thing and been like, I'm doing this for me and me, and that's it. That is so fucking badass, man.
Any sport taken to the extreme, I just, I don't have it in my heart to do things. I was raised by my mother. My father was not in my life for very, very long. So she did what she installed in me very quickly, to not have that self-limiting factor. You
Yeah.
know, limits are fiction. Um, don't you can do anything. A, you tell yourself you can, and B, if you work hard enough. You can't just, I'm going to do this, and it just magically happens. You have to put in the work and the dedication, and that she installed that in me very quick. Like words like, I can't do this. I'm she would just shut that down immediately. Like, don't ever fucking say that shit. I mean, she didn't say that exactly. I'm just speaking my own words, but she did teach me how to cuss too. That's a joke we have as siblings that she also taught us how to cuss.
Legend.
But yeah, so but yeah, it's any sport. Like the guy that just did the longest plank.
Mm.
He did a plank of like 9 hours or some crazy shit. Like, yeah, he's just statically sitting there in a plank. Anybody that's done a plank would know that even doing a plank for a minute is, for even especially for me being so heavy, like damn near impossible. But 8 or 9 hours, something taken to the extreme, but you don't see all the behind the scenes stuff that happens to make that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Or the years he may have been dedicating himself to just that one event, for that one record. It's stuff like that people don't know or think about that really is pretty incredible.
Physically, it's so impressive, right? With all these feats of strength, feats of endurance, whatever. But for me personally, I watch these events, right? And I just feel myself smiling because I'm like, this individual has gone so far mentally, right? And they're able to like break down any fucking barrier in there, tell any fucking demon to shut the fuck up. And I'm just like, this is so fucking badass. Like that, I think stuff like this honestly helps the fucking world. And I'm gonna go super deep with this because we all like watching. I mean, look at Romans, like the gladiators, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna put a bunch of lads with sticks and stones in a fucking arena with some rabid lions and just watch it, right?
Yeah.
This is what sport is these days. Someone's doing a plank for 9 hours, you're benching 13, 20, like whatever it is, right? It's fucking gladiators. And we watch it and be like, oh, like me doing an extra 19 minutes of work I thought was impossible. And this human being has just proven that pretty much nothing is impossible. Oh, okay. I'm going to be able to, I don't know, get up fucking 15 minutes earlier and go for a 5 minute walk to help my health, right? Or stay at work a little bit longer because I need some more pennies or finish the project or do my homework or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
honestly think sport and these individual events in whatever capacity has the power to unite people.
I mean, yeah, that was deep and that was like spot on too. Like it's pretty amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can't even watch the Olympics when they come around every 4 years, or in this last case, 5 years, whatever, but
Mm.
without choking up, just
Yeah, man.
watching these people succeed. I'm just feeling kind of emotional about it now, but really it's just seeing people go out there and just excel at their sport and be able to go on the world stage and just excel and grab the medals. And it is sports do truly bring people together. The whole world comes together.
Oh yeah.
You know, put their differences aside, at least seemingly, and then come together and compete and have fun and do these sports. It's that's pretty incredible to me.
Yeah, I mean, any other place in the world, right, and any other year and any other time, if we held different flags above our shoulders and stood side by side, someone would think we're going to have a fight, right? If it's the
Yeah.
Olympic year or we're in an Olympic village and we're doing the same thing, someone would think we're going to go get a beer and have a celebration, right?
Yep.
And it's like the only thing that's different is we're watching fucking sport. I
Yes.
think it's so powerful, man. It's like this common universal language that we don't even need to understand the rules. Like equestrian. I don't fucking get this shit, but someone's like riding some sort of horse. And I'm like, okay, like it's not for me, but also that's fucking cool.
Yeah. It's just no matter what. I mean, I don't like certain sports. I think certain sports are just, you look at them and just go, geez, what the fuck is this? This is the most boring shit. Like I personally, I can't even watch basketball.
Wow.
I think basketball is just the most boring, just monotonous sport. Football, I can tolerate. Baseball, I'm talking about American sports. I just can't
Mhm.
stand. But even such, I still have that respect just for wow, these guys have just worked their lives full dedication, day in, day out, never ends, 24/7, 365 days a year. They are completely dedicated. And that's exactly, I'm on the same route that I'm on right now. I've sacrificed friendships.
Yeah.
I mean, the military forced me to walk away from family. It wasn't really the sport, but um, I've sacrificed friends, time with family. I don't live a normal life. I have a very structured routine every day that is completely 100% dedicated. The way I sleep, what I eat, when I get up, when I eat, when I go to the gym, what I do when I'm there, what I do afterwards, every single day, 7 days a week, even on the off days. I can't just relax and do what normal people do. But that's what makes me good.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't treat this sport as a casual hobby, a side thing, and be this good. It has to be my everything. And it has been my everything, of course, except being married and having my wife and everything. But we don't have kids. We work from home. We have our own business. I don't go work for somebody that I fucking hate probably. Because I got out of the Marine Corps and the last thing I wanted to do was go work for a job that I was probably going to hate,
Yeah.
for a boss that I'd probably hate as well,
Yeah.
and be told what to do and when to do it and how to do it. I'm not doing that shit. We made our own thing work, which is awesome, but that allows me to live how I need to live to be successful at this level. I mean, I can be successful at any level, but to be the best has been eat, breathe, live, sleep my sport. It's more specifically just bench press.
Mm. It's the dedication, man. Like you've got to take the hats off. Like the dedication people have got to do to get this done. Like you've the only thing you can do is take your hat off for that. People say call it obsession and all this shit. I was like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like
Yeah,
if the fucking Egyptians were obsessed to build the pyramids. And guess what? Like
clearly.
everybody goes there every single year and we're like, oh my God, it's amazing. I was like, yeah, and this will go down in history and we'll do the
Yes,
same thing.
correct.
Right. But in
Yeah,
the moment, it's like, at the moment, your class is it's a rebellion. Right. And then you'll be someone who's a genius.
yes.
You know what I mean? It's really strange. Like I think about it quite a lot. Like we like to throw stones at people in the present, right? It was like, oh, just be like everybody else, blah, blah, blah. Like MLK, right?
Uh-huh.
Mandela, MLK, fucking Churchill, like
Right.
Lincoln would have got it, right? It was just like, oh, you're a troublemaker, you're whatever. And then they're a revolutionary. And then there's
Yes.
someone who changed the tide for the good, right? And we look back and we're like, oh, we revel in their like marvelous in the future. And you're like, oh, Jesus, can we not just fucking be open-minded in the present?
Yeah. I live to be different. I think being different is what makes us so cool, which is why I had such a rough time in high school. Uh,
Yeah.
I was not popular in high school. I didn't have any girlfriends. I was part of I guess, there's always those little, I even hate to use the term, those little cliques.
Mm.
You got the cool kids, the troublemakers, the band geeks. But I had my own group of friends that were just completely separate from everybody else, and we really thrived together. But yeah, tradition. I wish I could go back and almost not even go through high school because it was completely pointless for me. It was just one of the worst times of my life, besides the Marine Corps, obviously. But uh, yeah, being different is fantastic.
Mm.
Uh,
It's
I'm
super, man.
very, yeah, I think I'm very good at being myself. And I applaud people that are very proud to be themselves and not be like others. Absolutely.
I agree, man. Like, and I always think if someone approaches me, right, like for example, now just through a computer screen, I was like, okay, I want you to be you. Like, fucking say what you want to say, act the way you want to act, be 100% you, and I'm going to respect that to everything that I have. I don't want you to create this character that you think my character is going to like. It's like, no, no, fuck that bullshit, right? I'm not smart enough for that. Just be yourself, right? And we'll have a
Yep.
conversation. And the same with people on the street, like the fucking barista who makes you coffee or some shit, right? Just be yourself, god damn it. Even if it's like, hey, how are you? And it's like, actually, really shit. I was like, great, give me some fucking honesty. Like, we'll talk it out, no problem, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yes.
I want to like branch off because this is something that absolutely like just warmed my heart of the scholarship program.
Oh, I mean, yeah, got my scholarship t-shirt on right
There
now.
you go.
Yeah, that's it's something that it was actually my wife's idea. I'm kind of the co-founder. I know our brand is on it, the Cold Strong, but it was her idea. So it's a we'll break it down simple. What it is scholarship kind of makes it sound like it's for schooling. It's not. It has nothing to do with schooling. It's just a term we used. What we do is we raise money through donations through our nonprofit organization, the Cold Strong Scholarship, for a year. And at the beginning of the next year, we see what we've collected. And in this case, come January 1st of 2022, we had raised $3,000. But we started the scholarship kind of midway through the year of 2021 that we started like in September. So we didn't have like a full year. So in that short amount of time, we raised $3,000. And it's for young athletes. It's for those who are teenagers. It's for those who are in the junior division of powerlifting, which for those who don't know, it's from 14 to 23. That kind of age group, the young crowd, the young powerlifters, the up and coming generation of powerlifters. And we take that $1,000 each. So for every $1,000 we raise, that's one athlete that we help. We help them through an application process. They type up their story, who they are, where they come from, how they're involved with the sport, why or how they can benefit from receiving $1,000 donation, basically. Then we go through, we read each one, read their stories, read their references, their recommendation letters. We have a small panel of people, myself, my wife, and two of our friends from the gym, our gym owner, and one of our best friends, Amber Hansen. She's a powerlifter as well. And she holds the biggest female bench in history.
Wow.
So we lift together. So that works out good. And we all go through it. We reach a general consensus on the athletes that we pick. We had 21 applicants this year. I wish I had it upon me to help every single one of them, all 21, but we just don't have that much money. We had to pick 3, picked our top 3, and we're sending them all 3 $1,000 check. And that check is to help them in their with anything really, but it's meant for your powerlifting career, to pay for meets, to pay for your gym membership, gas to get back and forth, your food, new equipment, whatever, travel, whatever it might be. Or if you just pocket it, it doesn't, it's whatever you do with it, it's your $1,000. But it's for powerlifting athletes. We don't just give them to random people on the street, which is also nice, but the sport has been so good to us. But we know what it's like to be dedicated to a sport that pays shit. I mean, it's hard to rub 2 nickels together sometimes. It just doesn't pay unless in very, very odd circumstances. If you find a money meet once in a while, but you got to be the best out there to win those things, and then whatever. But we were in our teenage years or early junior years. We would not pay a bill to have money to go to a competition. Yep. We would take our rent to pay for a trip to go to a money meet where hopefully I would win to then make up the rent, and then now we're good now. But we've struggled and struggled and struggled for me to be good at a sport that just does not pay anything. So we want to be able to give back to the sport, but so good to us. And one of the ways we thought to do that was to do the scholarship and help young athletes, because $1,000 back when we were that age would have made a world of difference. So that time has come and passed. We're older now and wiser, hopefully, but we wish to now help others.
Oh man, honestly, that warms my heart, man. Like helping kids get through the system, kind of carve their own path and just be like, hey, I hope the Bible teaches you as much as it's taught us, right? And also, here's some money that's going to help you, I don't know, pay for fucking groceries, right? Sometimes it's just hard enough to pay for fucking oats.
Yes. And whatever $1,000 you deem necessary for your circumstance in your life. If it's
Mm.
just, if your car broke down, you can't get to the gym, you can't get to your job, you can pay for that. If it's, you can't afford your groceries, if you can't, at one point we were so down that I couldn't afford a $25 gym membership. 25 bucks. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't pay it. I had to leave the gym. Uh, so it's been rough. And everybody's got their own stories, and I'm not trying to, put it out there that, oh, woe is me, because I'm not that kind of guy. But it was rough for a while. Still is rough sometimes. Life is always going to have bumps in the road. It's not going to be just smooth sailing.
Mm.
You just got to take things as they come. But like in hindsight, again, that's what this is for, is to help people, because there's enough ugliness in the world. There's enough cruelty. There's enough. I mean, the internet is just a cesspool for cruelty these days. But I think more people need to help others. We need to spread kindness. I think the world needs more of that.
Yeah, you and me both, man. I think unconditional love, man, is the strongest thing on the planet, you know. And people get it twisted. It has to be in a romantic manner. It's like, no, man, just fucking. It's just being kind is unconditional love,
Yeah,
right? Just
just
throw
moves both
someone a
ways.
smile, you know, just or give them
Yeah,
a hey, good set. I was like, I don't even know this person. What's going on? I was like, that person's gonna be lifted up because they benched, I don't know, a quarter, right? And you walk up to them and it's like, good set.
yeah,
You know, you would have been them 20 years ago.
correct. I mean, I started out benching. I think the first time I ever picked up a weight, period, I benched like 60 pounds, and I was ecstatic. And then my stepfather comes in and curls it. I was like, "Whoa!" He's like God in my eyes. He's curling when I bench. This guy's so fucking strong. And then, but in reality, when I first started lifting weights seriously at the age of 14, like actually got interested, I was benching like 120. So I mean, I started out benching nothing,
Mm.
but I was proud of it. I loved it. It's been a ride ever since.
Wow. What would you say is like the biggest lesson the Bible has taught you?
Shit. You mean like the sport itself, or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest lesson? Well, that's a deep one. Let's see. I don't know. Lesson. I mean, there's so many. They could go from, that things take time. Uh, you can't let these small things deter you from your goals. I've been in such bad mental spots with the sport. I flew out to Vegas one time, and I couldn't afford to fly there myself. It's for the WABDO World Championships in Vegas. Never been to Vegas in my life. I had people. I was working on a local subway at the time to get myself from college, and people would come into my work and just hand me money. Who I was, what I was doing. They would just hand me money. Here, use this to get to Vegas. We believe in you. Here you go. Here's some more. That's how I got there. I went out there and I bombed out. And I called at the time, we weren't married yet, but called my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and I wanted to quit right on the spot. Like, is it selfish of me to keep doing this shit for like all this money, all this? Here, we believe in you. Here's money to get to, and coming out here and having nothing to show for it. Is it? I was about to quit.
Mm.
I've been to that point before. Like, I should just stop doing this. This is not worth it. I'm wasting so much money and resources for nothing. Even if I had won, what is it? It's just a number. It's just a fucking trophy. I can't even keep it. I can't take it on the plane there and give it to some kid in the crowd. That's one thing. And then, other than that, it's just like I mean, that's one of the biggest ones. But I had another one that was really good. I just lost it, but I'll come back to it if I think of it.
That's all right. Like time is one for me, man. You know, um, I love the gym so much because I love that monotonous, the grind, I'm gonna come in and it's gonna be, one more rep in the entire fucking session, or it's gonna be exactly the same and you're just gonna have to beat yourself up again. And I love that. I don't like it when it's, completely different and, oh, we're all gearing up to this one event and it's completely, it's like, no, I just want to get in. I want to grind it out. I want to leave. I want to continue with the day. Because for me, like, it just hits me in the face every day. Okay, motherfucker, bam. Like, you got to get up, you got to work, full stop, keep going. Again, tomorrow, you got to get up, you got to work, full stop, keep going. And that to me, the reminder, I love it, man. I love that shit.
Training is the competitions are easy for me.
Yeah.
My work capacity, what I do during the week is just through the roof. I mean, crazy workouts, intent just oh, it makes you sick. But then when I get to the competition, I do so much less work compared to what I do in the gym. It's easy.
Mhm.
Competitions are fucking cake, you know. There are those times where they don't work out and I bomb out. That's going to happen because I'm still human. Nothing's going to be perfect at 100% of the time. But yeah, it's all fun. I enjoy every single aspect of the sport. The bomb out.
Mhm.
Well, I hate bombing out, but it's real. You know, the bomb outs, the good lifts, the record lifts, the small PRs in the gym, the days where you feel like absolute dog shit, but you got to drag yourself in there anyway and get through a workout because I don't have time to take time off. I can't afford to take time off. So yeah, I enjoy every aspect of it. Awesome.
That's funny you say that. Like, you dragging yourself to the gym. I am a sadistic motherfucker because I love that shit. If it's like I feel like death, right? And I've got to go in and just do something. Yeah, okay, you got to auto regulate, and you might not be able to push the weights or the same reps or whatever. But you got to go in and do something, right? It's like
Yes.
I love those times. I think it was probably from sport, like back in the day, we used to do all types of fucking dumbass shit, like 2 hours in
Yeah.
the weight room, 2 hours fitness training, then we'd be able to touch a rugby ball and be like, right, lads, now we're gonna like play some games. You're like, dude, I've been working out for 4 hours. Like, what do you expect me to do? I was like,
Yeah.
figure it out. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out.
I mean, I grew up with the sport in my middle school, high school years when the sport was still underground, misunderstood. You know,
Mm,
the mid 2000s when it's almost like when powerlifting was still scary, not mainstream like it is now. You know, when West Side was so prominent and you know, you had these, it was just whatever. And then they had this kind of this shift where it become mainstream
yeah.
and how we talked about earlier. Now everybody can be a power lifter, no matter who, you know. But that kind of mentality is how what I saw as the sport, how I recognized it, and how I was brought up in the sport. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't go to West Side Barbell, but I went to some pretty hardcore gyms, and that's how we trained and lived, was that hardcore mentality, that underground sport mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really hard to get that mentality into, pardon me, into new lifters, especially when they train at a commercial gym or a fucking fluffy duffy gym, right? And I'm just like, oh, it's really intimidating. It's like, no, you're just in the wrong gym. Trust me. Like, if you
Yeah.
go to a power gym, the ones that are from the outside look like the cave to fucking hell, right? And you're
Uh-huh.
like, nah, I'm not walking in there. There's so many giants walking around. There's too much weight getting thrown around. You walk in, it's actually the safest, fucking kindest gym on the planet. Like, people love people. People just want to help you. They want to help you. They want to spot an empty fucking bar. If that's your max, that's your max. They want to see you fucking push it.
Yeah. The number of people do, you know, that doesn't matter to me at all. It's because I was in a gym called Iron Chamber, which was in northeastern Ohio where I lived. And we would have a rotation on bench. We could get through a bench workout with 12 people in an hour, just
Wow.
under an hour. That's raw and equipped. And we would go, you know, top end. I'd be on the top end with weights in the 8, 9 to 1,000 pound range. And then the bottom end would be like a young woman who was benching like 115 pounds.
I love that, man.
And it did not matter. If you were benching, you were obviously benching. If you were on deck, you did not load your own weights. The crew loaded your own weights. It was just a cycle, benching, get up off the bench, help load the spot. If you were up to bench next, you did not load or spot, you got ready.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go from 1,000 pounds to 115 just in seconds. It did not matter what the weight was, as long as you were doing the work, showing the dedication, and working hard. Um, I started benching, like I said, I benched 120 when I was first getting serious.
Mm-hmm.
I had people helping me. I had people spotting me. And I wasn't in that environment yet. I didn't do that till later in my career. But yeah, it doesn't matter. The weight does not matter.
Mm.
It's that hard work and that dedication that really matters. If you fluff off and you're just kind of just not giving a shit, get the fuck out of here. Get out the rotation, motherfucker. But uh, otherwise, it's all good.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
matters.
yeah. I mean, if you walk into a church, right, and you were like messing on your phone and they were doing the sermon,
Sure.
they would tell you to politely leave. They probably wouldn't tell you to get the fuck out, but they'd tell you to politely leave, right?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Depending on what church you go to.
Correct.
It's the same
Right.
thing. The gym is our church. If you come in, you're fucking around, fuck off. Like someone wants to be in that spot, like someone wants to be in that environment. Someone's had the worst day imaginable and they want to be around some fucking lads and ladies that don't give a shit and just want to kick ass.
Yes, that's that. It's been my safe spot for so long. That's actually how I got back into the sport because when I was in the Marines, I was still in that small hiatus where I wasn't lifting weights, but like halfway through my enlistment, the Marine Corps started turning really, really sour and getting really shitty for me.
Mm.
I needed something else. I didn't know what it was. Then I went to the gym one day out of complete randomness, and then it came back. The iron bug never went away. I got bit years ago, and it was just always there. And that was my out. I needed something else besides day-to-day Marine Corps. And the
Yeah.
gym was that out for me. And then I got back to it. I've been in it ever since.
God, I fucking love the gym, man. Honestly, like those power gyms, those big grungy gyms, even good CrossFit gyms, good weightlifting gyms, like whatever the fuck it is, a strongman gym, like
Yeah.
man, they're just full of fucking great people, man.
I the it's funny because the nicest people I've ever met in sport have always been the strongest.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
some of the biggest dicks and assholes I've met in sport are not the strongest ones. It's just this weird, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but every time I met somebody who was just so kind and giving and willing to talk and just humble was always very strong and respected and very, very good at what he did. And the assholes were just not, they were just nobodies. It was very, very strange. I don't know how that works, but that's been my experience anyway.
I don't know. I can second that, man. Like I think it's because they've put the dedication and the time in, and they are humbled by, okay, I've worked an entire fucking year, right? 12 months for like 5 kilos.
Yeah. Yeah.
People people would look at
Yeah.
that and be like, no, you're crazy. I was like, well, yeah, slightly.
I mean, Dave Hoff, when he totaled 3,000 pounds flat, the first time he did it, I think it was 2,000 flat or whatever. But the next time he totaled 3,000 pounds 4 years later, it was 5 pounds above what he did 4 years before. 4 years of living, breathing hell for 5 pounds on his total. Um, he's since done a hell of a lot more than just 5 pounds,
Mm,
going up to over 3,100. But there's a prime example right there of just years of work for just a little bit of gain.
mm.
But you would do it all day. You would do it. You would trade. If I could, I don't want to say it too prominently, but if I could trade a year of my life for another 100 pounds on my bed, I'd fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So I mean, I don't want to manifest that, but
Mm,
that's how that's how deep and important it is to me.
mm,
That's how much I want it.
100%, man. So I got 3 questions.
So
All right. What's the greatest piece of life advice you ever received?
life advice. Life advice. Well, probably. Let's see. It's all going to come back to the sport somehow, but probably to not try to be like others. Meaning, I use the analogy like every human that's ever lived is currently living and will ever live are all different. We are all different in one way or another. So don't try to train, don't try to be like your idol. Like I always tried to idolize like Ryan Kennelly, Gene Richlack, and Scott Mendelson when I was a kid, and tried to be like them and try to train like them. But what works for me is probably not going to work for him or her or her. So do what you need to do for yourself to be successful. And if nobody else in the world does what you do, but you get results from it,
Mhm.
and just keep doing that. Don't try to be like others, and then it might not work because I am not a Scott Mendelson, I am not a Donnie Thompson, I am a Jimmy Kolb. There's only one of me, and I train a certain way that works for myself, and that's what works. So that's one of the most prominent pieces I've been given.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful message, especially to the youth.
Yes,
I like that.
yes.
What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh fuck. Worst piece of life advice. Oh man, probably something my dad said back when I was still living with him. Let's see. Worst piece of life advice. Oh, join the military. It's a good opportunity. Whoever told me that, probably one of the recruiters is full of shit.
Yeah.
Uh, I think, I mean, the militaries are necessary because of the shitty reality of how human beings treat each other sometimes. But yeah, I would be on my experience alone. I would never, if I ever have a kid, if I a close friend, acquaintance, I would never recommend somebody, oh, you have a shitty life right now, all things are rough. Oh, go in the military, man. It's a great opportunity. You can travel, you got all these benefits. Fuck that. I would never recommend someone join the military. I mean, I joined based on just a few personal reasons and also kind of some contemporaries kind of talking to me about it. But yeah, it sounds funny, but like that's one of the shittiest pieces of advice I've ever been given is go join the military. It's a good opportunity.
Wow.
This, I mean, I've not been given a lot of shady shit in my life. I've been given very, very good pieces of advice. I've lived a really good life, but the military was not it.
Well, man, speak your truth,
My
Speak
truth.
your fucking truth. 3 words you tell your younger self.
3 words.
Yeah.
Younger self. 3 words. That's 4 words. Let's see.
You can have 4 words if you want.
Four. Oh, geez. Let's see. 3 words. That's tough. There's so many words that I know. There's 3 words I live by right now that that I live by. That's my 3 H's. So I would tell my younger self in terms of like living, but I would say heavy, happy, and healthy.
Hmm.
Because I that's what I tell my lifters, the people I work out with, when they're coming up to a meet or something or a competition. They're concerned with being at a certain weight they are right now, but they want to drop weight, trying to make a weight class. And they asked me for advice, like, what would you do? I said, be heavy, happy, and healthy. Like just be your weight, be happy about it, be healthy, and just be strong.
Mhm.
Don't be too concerned with trying to drop weight and be unhealthy and make cuts and do all that crap. If you really want to do it, if you're going to do that, it better be for some 30 standing year record you're trying to beat from some guy back in the 80s or 90s. But for any other reason, I think you should just stay right where you're at and be heavy, happy, and healthy.
Oh, I love that, man.
That's what I
Brother,
got.
I appreciate your time, man, so much. And honestly, like what ticked the box for me was the scholarship. I was like 13, 20 is fucking insane. But someone who's able to do that, push the boundaries of that, and then also do that and push the boundaries of giving back to the youth and helping kids out in whatever capacity. Dude, that was a massive, oh my God, I need to have a conversation with this dude. I've got massive respect, and I don't even know what he sounds like, right? And I'm super appreciative of what you do, man.
I appreciate the kind words. I do. Like I said, it's the main purpose is to help others. It's for very, very little gain for us.
Mm-hmm.
My gain is that I'm still able to compete. I'm still able to lift weights. I'm still able to live my life the way I want to live it. Helping others is a gain in itself too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been given a lot of help throughout my life, a lot of guidance, very, very kind people for being in the sport. I mean, it's an incredible sport with an incredible support base. Just a lot of strong motherfuckers.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad that this was all her idea, and I'm running with it. Um, I just think the world needs more giving, less cruelty and ugliness.
Yes, sir. And it all starts with the bar, so get in the gym.
That's right.
Fucking
That's
love it,
right.
man. Mate, I
Yeah,
appreciate it. And whenever I make it over to the States, I guess we're gonna have to bench.
God.
That we might need to take, maybe a couple pounds off the bar for me.
Hey,
Maybe 2 pounds, 5 pounds at tops.
couple pounds. Yeah, no, like I said, the number does not matter. It matters not the number. It's the dedication and the work you put out.
Yes, sir. All right,
Yes,
brother. You take it easy, man, and I appreciate your time.
absolutely. You do the same.
All right, man. Talk soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, everybody.